Welcome to Poland Daily Culture. On today's episode, we're at Krzeczyn Mały Palace and the Polish western countryside. We're going to be meeting the Nicolay family and telling you all about this historic palace and the surrounding area.
The palace in Krzeczyn Mały is a Baroque palace from the 18th century. In 1997, a French family coming from Belgium, Count and Countess Guillain de Nicolay, bought the estate and started renovating it. Since 5 years, their son, Count Charles de Nicolay, is patiently taking care of their new house in Poland. In our episodes, he will tell us about the history of the palace as well as about his family.
Welcome to Poland Daily Culture. Today I'm in Krzeczyn Mały and I'm joined by Charles de Nicolay in his library. Welcome to Poland Daily Culture.
Well, thank you very much for coming here, which is quite far from Warsaw.
Indeed. So first of all, I've got to ask, give us a translation of Krzeczyn Mały.
Well, I don't know very much what Krzeczyn means, but Mały means the little, as opposed to Krzeczyn Wielki, which is the next village, which is Krzeczyn the Great.
So, okay, tell us about the history of this palace, because it's not a modern, far from a modern construction.
No, it's a 19th century Baroque country house built by a German family called Schweinitz, who built the first half of the house in the 1720s, and then the children of these people built the second half of the house where we are now. They had this house for about 100 years, and after that one of the members of the Schweinitz family was made ambassador to St. Petersburg, I think, and at that time, ambassadors had to finance themselves, the embassy and the parties and everything. So they had to sell the house. Okay. It changed during about 20 years a few times of owner until the 1860s, where the Harrach family bought it, which is an Austrian Catholic family, and they had it until the end of the war in 1944. The last owner, the Count Harrach, was a young German officer in the Wehrmacht who was fighting on the Eastern Front in Germany. And he wasn't a Nazi, he was a German soldier. Mm-hmm. And he got captured in 1944, and his wife and children had to escape from here because the Eastern Front was coming quite closer and closer. Mm-hmm. And they only got to know, they didn't know if their father and husband was alive until 1952 or 1954, I think, where he came back, and then they lived in Bonn, where he was a diplomat, until they then lived in Bonn when my parents wanted to buy this house. Mm-hmm. Asked them if they didn't mind, and completely ruined by the war and communism, they were very happy that someone got interested in the house and even visited us until Count Harrach died in 97, 98, I'm not sure.
All right then. So because it was in a poor state, they were quite keen to sell the palace.
No,
is that right?
because after the war, as you may know, the boundaries of Poland moved. What used to be Poland in the east before the war became Ukrainian, and what used to be Germany here became Polish. And with the new political regime, expropriated all the German families. And here it was after the war, I think at first a prison for women, then a school for children which had mental illnesses, and after that PGR, which is in Polish the Polish equivalent of the Soviet kolkhoz, a state farm.
Okay.
So here were the offices of the state farm, which was more or less the estate which it used to be before the war. Russian soldiers used to live here too, people who worked on the PGR, and they had cows here and corn and other kind of cereals. In the 80s, all this communistic regime fell down. This PGR fell down before the end of communism, and during 20 years, nothing happened. The house was open, the fields were not used at all. So it was a complete jungle here. And my parents, when they arrived, bought it from the Polish Ministry of Agriculture, which was which inherited it from the communist regime. But then they asked the Count Harrach if he didn't mind, and he was really happy because, first of all, Polish government would never have sold it to a German person because they were afraid that, especially here on the western side of Poland, German would buy everything from the Polish. And hello. And Count Harrach didn't, as he lost everything, wasn't even able to reconstruct it. So he was really happy at the end of his life that someone made this house live again and not completely collapse.